Resilience. I'm going to talk today about resilience, but rather than me just give you a list of things to do to be more resilient, I thought I might use a more of a blind coaching approach to this. So I'm going to ask you some questions around different subjects that help you become resilient. So questions that you can ask yourself, that you can look at how you behave, how you react or respond to events that might help you become more resilient. I think the first bit we want to look at is your sense of realism. So this is what's happening to you right now, what's happening around and about you that can affect how you are responding and reacting to things. Because often what happens is for instance, at the moment, we've just been going through 6 months nearly now, isn't it, of a pandemic, and that has really knocked a lot of us from our resilience, from a perspective of resilience. I know from myself personally, one thing that I've noticed that made me less resilient was the fact that I was not being realistic about what was happening. So the first question I ask you is, what is happening to you right now? What's really happening to you in your environment? Because we'll often, when we think about what's happening to us right now, we'll refer to what's happening in the media. So what's happening on the news, what we're reading about, what's on Facebook, what's on Twitter, what's coming up on Instagram. That's not realism. That's not reality. That's not your personal reality right now. So how much money do you have in the bank? Are you ill? Or are you well? Are you working currently? Are you looking for work? These are what's happening now. This is what you can deal with. So realism is about managing what is yours to manage, not worrying about what you can't manage. So ask this question. So what in your world right now can you control? Think about writing all the things that happen to you right now, what's happening in your world right now. Writing them on post-it notes. Collecting those post-it notes and putting them into two piles. What I can deal with, what I can manage, what I can change, and what I can't change. Two piles. Take that pile that you can't change, throw it away. Nothing you can do about that. Take the pile that you've got with the things that you can change. Now I want you to make two piles out of that. What is important? Get that pile of what's important. How do you gauge what's important? Ask yourself, what I'm holding in my hand, this post-it note that I'm holding in my hand with an event that's happening and something that's going on in my world right now, with this post-it note, will that still be an issue next week? Will it still be an issue in 2 weeks' time? Will it still be an issue in 3 weeks' time? Is this a big issue? Yes or no? If it's not really going to be important next week or any time in the future, then put that on the we might not make it important pile. Is this, if it's an item that you definitely know it's going to be, if you don't deal with it now, it's going to come along down the tracks, put that on your important pile. Separate all your issues that you can manage into important, not important. You've then got this much smaller pile of issues and worries and concerns that you can manage. And on previous videos, I've talked about this very subject, managing what you can manage. It's vital that you break that down into, I've just got this small pile now. I'm going to deal with these things, because if I don't deal with these things, my anxiety is going to raise up, and I'm going to get more and more worried about all the other stuff that I can't control. If I start taking control on these things that are important to me, that I can change, everything else seems a lot smaller. So realism is about taking control. Realism is also about understanding what might come down the tracks for you. And that's what, when we've looked at that exercise of taking away the not important, the stuff that is an irritation, it can be dealt with, but it doesn't have to be dealt with. And dealing with the stuff that is going to be big, it's there all the time. It's like paying your mortgage, paying your rent, paying your bills, any of your bills. They're important issues. So how are you going to deal with that? That's what you've got to manage. So the big issues that are going to still be big issues next week, 2 weeks time, month's time, a year's time, you take control of them. That will help you in your future, knowing what's going to happen. So you know you need to keep your house safe, you know you need somewhere to live, you know you need food. Okay. And I know I'm just thinking now about the realism and just about planning for the future with this realism, because it is a bit about planning for the future, something that might happen, that might come down. Am I ready for that? And that's another aspect of realism. And that just got me thinking about all those people fighting over toilet rolls that you saw on social media way back in March. Now, I'm not suggesting we go and bulk buy everything right now, or do stuff, crazy stuff like that. But what we should be doing is sort of preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. This creates this level of resilience. This keeps this control element. So it might be when you go to the shops, you only need 1 tin of beans, but this week I might just buy 2 tins of beans, and I might just put one of those tins of beans at the back of the cupboard. So you're not overbuying, but you're just increasing little bits everywhere. So yeah, this week I might just buy that emergency pack of toilet roll that I'll just stick at the back of the cupboard. It doesn't go off, I don't have to worry about it, it's there. But I'm not going to buy loads and loads and loads. I'm just going to buy 1 extra packet, stick it in the bag. Just thinking about what you might need if you can't get to the shops for a few weeks. Lisa bought a carton of Steri milk ages ago, just stuck it in the cupboard. We had one we bought one in March, and this is why I know it's important, because we bought this in March and we both were ill. No, I was ill. We had to quarantine, so the whole house had to quarantine. Yes, we had lovely people, lovely friends and neighbours that helped us and supported us and bought us food, but there was one afternoon or day when we'd run out of milk. We didn't want to bother people, but we had that carton of Steri milk. We could use it. It just creates that resilience in the system. Just these little extra bits that you just need to just think about. That's realism. So preparing for the worst, hoping for the best is really, really important. Today it's sunshine and showers. So if you're going to go outside today, you're not just going to go out in your shorts and t-shirt. You might have shorts and t-shirt on because it's quite warm outside, but you might have a raincoat in your bag or an umbrella. That's realism, isn't it? There's clouds coming, so let's just prepare for not getting wet. So be very much aware of your circumstances and what you can control and what you can't control, and start to plan for what might be coming down the tracks later. What can I do to keep my circumstances safe? Saving for a rainy day is another important realism behaviour. Just squirreling away a little bit of money each week for that time when you might not be able to work. All organisations do this, or resilient organisations do this. Just prepare for that thing coming down the track. Yeah, I'm not going to get into a political discussion about what happened in this country and what happened in other parts of the world, but you can see where countries were expecting worse. In some respects, at the moment so far, have fared slightly better than other countries that didn't see the value of that. So having that sense of realism is vital for that resilient state. So that's my question. Bring up those post-it notes. What can you control and what you can't control? What is a risk for you down the tracks as well? What risks do you face further down the line? Is it a loss of job? Is it maybe getting ill? Is it not being able to maintain the house that you're in? What can you do to prepare for the future, to make you more resilient? When you've considered your level of resilience, another really important aspect of being resilient is having a purpose. I talk about this a lot. Nearly everybody that you watch, from Paul McGee, Simon Sinek, Brené Brown, they all talk about a sense of purpose, don't they? So all these personal leadership videos and books all talk about this sense of purpose. And that's so important to be resilient. How can you pick yourself back up off the ground if you're not sure the direction you're supposed to be going in? It makes it so hard to pick yourself back up and carry on with what you're doing, because you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And if you haven't got a clear answer, you may as well lie down. So being able to pick yourself up is, why am I doing what I do? What's important to me? What's my purpose? What's my, quoting Simon Sinek, what's my reason why? He looks at it from an organisational perspective, but it is just as important from an individual perspective. Why do you go to work to do what you do? Some people, it's for a higher purpose. It is to contribute to that part of society. So nurses and doctors, healthcare workers, all healthcare workers, pharmacists, occupational therapists, physiotherapists. I'm just doing that. Coming from a nursing background, working in a healthcare environment, they always get missed out. All the allied health professionals, we always talk about doctors and nurses. It's not just doctors and nurses that work in the health profession. It's physiotherapists, occupational therapists, psychologists, pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, and the list goes on. Scientists, even plumbers, electricians, joiners, accountants. They all work in the health service and the healthcare service, providing excellent care to us all in the NHS in this country and in other countries. The health services that they provide all have a wide variety of people who work to a higher purpose. Now, not everybody has that higher purpose, but we all work for a reason. We might do our jobs to supplement our lifestyle. We might do our jobs because we like to create, we like to build, we like to do stuff. We might work because we just need some money. We just need to live. And we don't have the saleable skills that other people have. So we work to live. We all got a reason why. It's connecting to that reason why. And it's never straightforward, is it? It's always complicated. But can you simplify it to a couple of words that helps you in your time of need when you are laying face down in the ground and things are really, really hard, like for many of us it is right now? Can you hold on to that sense of purpose that you have, that reason why, so you can drag yourself back up and carry on and try again? I have my family, as many of you do, so that can be used is a sense of purpose as well, isn't it? Can be used. It shouldn't. That's the wrong terminology. Is often a big part of our sense of purpose is to support and provide for our family, to keep our family safe, to be able to live in a community that's safe. All of these things are important purposes and reasons why we do something, and it's vital to keep a hold of that and don't let that drift away when things get difficult. So when you're lying there in your bed worrying sick about how you're going to manage for the next 2 weeks, days, hours, ask yourself, what's my purpose? Why am I doing this? Who's it for? What's my reason why? If it's compelling enough, it will get you through. And we all have a reason why. We often just need to look for it a bit harder because we've drifted away from it. We all chose a path because of our reason why. And each one of those paths is very different. That's not important. What's important is that you have it and you're very clear about what it is. So if you're sat there thinking, I haven't got an altruistic reason why, you don't have to have. It can be a really selfish reason why. I want to earn as much money as I can. I want to have the biggest house I can have. I want to have the shiniest gold medallions that money can buy. It doesn't matter. Do you have a purpose? Are you clear about what that is? That's what's important. So hanging on to your purpose. And that, it's something that sometimes we don't think about. We might think it's a bit airy-fairy. It's a bit wishy-washy. It's not. It's so important to keep you going when it's really, really hard. And as I say, it doesn't have to be lofty or worthy. It just has to be your reason why. You don't have to tell anybody either. Keep it to yourself, but just tell yourself it all the time. And another aspect, this is the third and final aspect that I want to look at today. That there is much more to this, which I would happily go through with people on a one-to-one basis, or we can talk about in other videos, other aspects to how we can maintain resilience. But one more vitally important aspect of resilience is being creative. You need, I said the pressure word, I always try and avoid, I've probably said it a few times, trying to avoid the pressure word of need. You either do it or you don't do it. Need's not there really, it's you're doing it or you're not doing it. So being creative is essential. It's being able to pick something up and using that, because we don't always have the resources that we want to have, especially in times like this. Jamie Oliver did wonderful series right at the beginning of lockdown, and a few people, and I think he pinched it from, if I'm honest, from another chef, I forget her name, she was a blogger, and she did some stuff on daytime telly, where she was like, she was the original cooking on a shoestring kind of cook or chef or lifestyle guru that appeared on YouTube and does lots of things. So taking ingredients that you have in the cupboard and using them to create a meal, that's being creative. I can't get to the shops right now. What have I got in the cupboard? I actually did one. Reason why I mentioned Jamie Oliver, because I actually did one of his, which was all the bits and the scrag ends of vegetables, and all the vegetables that were going, oh, excuse me, were going a bit soft. Was take them and stick them in the oven with some olive oil and a few spices, and just cook them down. Just roast them, then mash them up. I think I mixed them with a tin of tomatoes and created this sauce. So much sauce. I had so much. It lasted me about 2 weeks. And I just used it for various different meals, making chili, curry, just using it as a soup, as a base for a soup. It was wonderful. All from stuff I probably would have thrown away. And if I'm honest, probably have thrown away since. But using something like that was being creative with what I had. And that is so important when you're thinking about resilience. We can sit there and wish for all the stuff we need to do what we need to do. Or we can look around us and pick up what we need, from what we can use to create something. It's obvious and easy, but sometimes in modern society we've missed that. You might do it already. You might be one of these people that picks stuff up from around and uses it, repurposes stuff, upscales stuff. My wife Lisa, she likes doing her shabby chic stuff, so she'll buy stuff from charity shops and repurpose them and change the way they look, so they look fabulous, look brand new and exciting. It's just something picked up from the charity shop. She'll turn old bottle tops into tabletops. She's really creative when it comes to that kind of work, and that's so important if you're going to be resilient. Is look, what can you pick up that's around you and use effectively instead of stuff you would like to use. So let's just recap. It didn't really turn out like a blind coaching session, did it? It did come out as a bit of a telling session, but there is some questions in there, I hope. Some areas of thought that you can think about that might spark an inspiration in you about being resilient. Because being resilient is not about being strong. It's nothing to do with strength. Showing strength can make being resilient harder. Being resilient is about knowing yourself and being able to go with the flow. If you think of blades of grass, incredibly resilient. So they go with the wind. You can stand on them, they get squashed down, they grow back up. We cut them with a grass cutter, they grow back up. I'm constantly pulling them out of pulling grass out of our patio area. The next 2 weeks later, it's grown back through again. It's incredibly resilient, but it's not strong. So resilience isn't about strength. It's about agility. It's about realism. It's about being realistic, knowing what circumstances that you have, and also preparing for what might be coming down the road at you. But it's about having a purpose, knowing the reason why you do what you do, and being able to be creative with the resources that you have available to you. That in a nutshell is creative, is resilience. There is, as I say, there's a bit more that we can discuss around each aspect of that, and I think what I'll do is I'll break that down into different videos, or you can by all means contact me and we could have a one-to-one session talking around that kind of level of resilience. Okay. Until next time, stay safe and I'll see you soon.